Imagine being born an orphan in the desert tribe torn by war, surrounded by idols and injustice. Imagine growing up without a father, then losing your mother at 6 and your grandfather soon after. That was the world our Prophet Muhammad entered. Yet from his broken beginnings emerged the man who would change the course of history forever. This is the story of his childhood, a tale of survival, resilience, and divine care. Welcome to this deep dive into one of the most overlooked yet powerful phases of the Prophet's life, his early years. And when we hear about Prophet Muhammad alayhi afdal salatu wa salam, we often think of his prophethood, the Quran, the battles, or his final sermon. But before all of that, there was a child who faced grief, abandonment, and uncertainty, yet was chosen by Allah to carry the final message of humanity. In this episode, we will explore the hardship he endured, the people who raised him, and the signs of greatness that happened and appeared even in his childhood, all backed by authentic sources from Ibn Hashim's Sira, Ibn Sa'd, Tabaqat, Sahih al-Bukhari, and others. In the heart of Mecca, in the year of 570 CE, known as Am al-Fir, or the Year of the Elephant, a child was born who would one day shake the world with nothing but truth. That child was Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. But even before he opened his eyes to the world, fate had already tested him. His father, Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib, had passed away during a trade journey to Yathrib, what we now call Al-Medina. He died before even seeing his son. His death wasn't just a personal tragedy. It meant that the Prophet entered the world as an orphan from birth in a society where lineage and protection from one's tribe were everything. Abdullah was young, likely just 18 or 20, and full of promise, but he never returned. According to Ibn Sa'd and Ibn al-Hashim in his Sira, Abdullah has gone on a trade journey with Quraysh caravan and fell ill while staying with his maternity relatives from Banu Najjar in Yathrib, who was buried there, far from Mecca, never knowing that his son would grow up to carry the final message to mankind. And so Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam came into the world with no father to told him, no voice to welcome him, just the quiet strength of his mother Amina and the silent wisdom of a destiny already in motion. The moment set the tone for the rest of his life. Loss, yes, but also divine purpose. For even in the pain, Allah was preparing his messenger for something far greater. After the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born, his mother Amina cared for him with deep love, but she was alone. In the harsh deserts of Arabia, even love wasn't enough protection. That's why noble Arab families had a tradition. They would send their newborns to live in the open desert, away from the crowded cities, to grow up strong, healthy, and fluent in the purest Arabic. And that's how a woman named Halima Sa'diya entered his story. She belonged to the tribe of Banu Sa'd, known for their eloquence, like many yet nurses. Halima traveled to Mecca searching for a child to nurse, but no one wanted to entrust an orphan. There was no father to pay her, so she hesitated until there were no babies left. Reluctantly, she took baby Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but from the moment she carried him, something changed. Her skinny donkey started to move faster. Her old, dry she-camel began producing milk. Her home, once cursed but drought, overflowed with blessings. Halima herself tells the story recorded to Ibn Hashim Sira, and she said, "We did not cease to see blessings while he was with us." He stayed with Halima for about 2 years, during which her family experienced what can only be described as barakah, divine blessings. Even as a baby, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ brought light into the lives around him. No words, no miracles, just his presence was enough. And yet, this was only the beginning. After 2 years in the desert, Hamida returned young Muhammad ﷺ to his mother Amina in Mecca. For a short while, it seemed like he might finally experience the warmth of a mother care. But Allah had written a different path. When Muhammad ﷺ was just 6 years old, Amina took him on a journey to Yathrib, the city where his father Abdullah had died. She wanted him to see his father's grave and connect with his relatives from Banu Najjar. But on their way back to Mecca, tragedy struck. In a lonely place called Al-Abwa, between Mecca and Medina, Amina fell ill, and there, in that remote desert spot, she passed away, leaving her 6-year-old son an orphan for a second time. The young boy now, without a mother or a father, was taken back to Mecca by his caretaker Ayman, a loyal servant of Amina. He was then placed under the guardianship of his grandfather, Abdullah Muttalib, the represented and the respected leader of Quraysh. Abdullah Muttalib loved Muhammad ﷺ deeply. He gave him a place of honor near him. Even when sitting with the chiefs of Quraysh, according to Ibn Hashim, he would say, "This child will have a great destiny." But this protection would not last long. When the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was just 8 years old, his grandfather too passed away, leaving him in the care of his uncle Abu Talib. 3 deaths, 3 heartbreaks before he was even a boy of 9. But none of this broke him, and instead it shaped him, preparing his story to carry the weight of the world. After the death of his grandfather, young Muhammad ﷺ was taken in by his uncle Abu Talib, the brother of Abdullah, and one of the respected leaders of Banu Hashim. Though Abu Talib wasn't wealthy, he gave the Prophet ﷺ love, shelter, and protection. He treated him like his own son, in fact, more than his own sons, as recorded by Ibn Hashim and Ibn Kathir. As he grew older, Muhammad ﷺ began to take on responsibility early. He worked as a shepherd, tending sheep in the outskirts of Mecca. This might seem like a humble job, but in truth, it taught him patience, humility, and leadership. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would say later, as narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari, every prophet of Allah was a shepherd. In his teenage years, he began traveling with Abu Talib on trade journeys. One famous journey took them to Syria. According to narrations in Ibn Ishaq's Sirah, a Christian monk named Bahira noticed signs of prophethood in the young boy. Bahira is reported to have told Abu Talib, "This nephew of yours has a great future. Protect him well." Even before revelation, Muhammad ﷺ was earning a reputation. People called him Al-Amin, and that means the trustworthy, because he never lied, never broke a promise, and always dealt fairly. In a city filled with idols, injustice, and tribal wars, this young orphan, raised by his uncle with little wealth, was already standing out, not through power, not through wealth, but through character. As Muhammad ﷺ entered his 20s, his reputation for honesty and integrity continued to spread across Mecca. He wasn't just Al-Amin in name, he lived it in every deal, every word, every interaction. That reputation caught the attention of one of the most powerful and respected women in Mecca, Khadija bint Khuwaylid. She was a wealthy merchant, twice widowed, and known for her intelligence and nobility. According to Ibn Hashim, Khadija hired Muhammad ﷺ to lead a trade caravan to Syria. She sent a long servant, Maysara, to observe him. What Maysara witnessed amazed her: honesty, wisdom, humility, and a strange cloud that seemed to follow and shade him from the sun. When Muhammad ﷺ returned, he had not only brought back double the prophets, but he also gained something more: the admiration and trust of Khadija. She proposed marriage, thought a trusted intermediary, And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted. At the time he was 25 years old and Khadija was around 40. Their message was a turning point. It gave him peace, financial stability, and deep emotional support. According to narrations in Ibn Kathir's Sirah, he never married another woman while Khadija was alive. She believed in him before anyone else, stood by him when the world turned away, and when revelation came, she would be the first to say, I believe in you. It was a love story rooted in respect, not just marriage, but a partnership and prophethood. As the years passed, Muhammad grew more disturbed by the world around him. Mecca was drowning in corruption, idols lined the Kaaba, the poor were crushed by the rich, baby girls were buried alive, and truth was nowhere to be found. And so he began to withdraw, not from people, but from the noise, the injustice, the darkness. He would climb the rocky hills of Jabal al-Nur to a small cave known as Ghar Hira, or the Cave of Hira. There, in total silence, he would sit for days in deep thought. No food but a little water and dates, no sound but the wind over the rocks. And this part became a regular practice. It was here that his heart softened, his soul yearned, and he began to prepare for the greatest moment in human history. He was now 40 years old, the age of maturity in Arab tradition, and while the world saw on a quiet man reflecting in a cave, Allah had chosen him for something far greater. Soon the silence of the cave would be broken, not by thunder or war, but by the voice of the angel Jibreel. But before the divine light would descend, Muhammad ﷺ had to first endure the long nights of questioning, of pain, of waiting. Because before revelation comes, there is always a storm within. And Muhammad ﷺ was about to meet his destiny. It was the month of Ramadan, the stillness of the night wrapped around the cave of Hira. Muhammad ﷺ was alone, as he had been many times before, but this night would change the whole world. Suddenly, a presence, a light, a voice, the angel Jibreel, appeared before him and said, Iqra. Muhammad ﷺ, startled and shaken, replied, Ma ana biqari, I'm not a reader. Then the angel embraced him tightly and repeated Iqra again and again until Jibreel finally recited the words revealed in Surah Al-Alaq. Iqra bism rabbika alladhi khalaq, khalaqa al-insana min alaq. Read in the name of your Lord who created man from clinging substance. The words burned into his heart, not with fire, but with purpose. Shaking, overwhelmed, terrified, Muhammad ﷺ rushed down the mountain. He did not know what had just happened. He did not know if he was going mad, but he knew he needed safety. He ran to the one person he trusted most, Khadija, and in her arms he cried, Cover me, cover me. He told her everything, and she, without hesitation, believed, and she said, By Allah, He would never disgrace you. You keep ties with your family, you help the poor, you carry the burden of others, and you speak the truth. She then took him to her cousin, the wise older scholar, Waraq ibn Nawfal. Waraq, upon hearing the story, confirmed, This is the same angel who came to Musa. You are the prophet of his nation. And just like that, the seal of prophethood was opened. The final message to humanity had begun. And this was just the beginning. From an orphan boy in the valleys of Mecca to the moment the heavens opened in the silence of a cave. The story of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is one of strength, mercy, and divine destiny. But what happens next? Who were the first to believe in his message? And how did Mecca react when a man stood up and said, La ilaha illallah? In the next episode, we will uncover the earliest days of Islam, the secret call, the courage of the first believers, and the fierce opposition that followed. So, if this journey moved you, don't let it stop here. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if it touched your heart, and share your thoughts in the comments. What moment from the Prophet's early life inspired you the most? This is more than history. It's a story that shaped the world, and together we will continue to walk through every chapter. Until next time, peace be upon you.